You're gonna hate it. You're gonna absolutely despise living in Nashville, Tennessee if what I'm about to tell you applies to you. Now, full disclosure, I've been living in Nashville for 10 years now, and I don't hate it, but I do interact with people on a consistent basis who, well, let's just say Nashville isn't their cup of tea. So let's dive in and find out whether or not living in Nashville will be your personal paradise or your own private hell. First, you're gonna hate living in Nashville if you have acute allergies. Nashville, Tennessee has a unique blend of topography and local flora that make the airborne allergens here quite prolific. And I've seen in some of my Nashville research that our metro area is considered one of the 30 allergy capitals in the US. Now, I'm not one that's ever been diagnosed with allergy issues, but even I wonder sometimes if my frequent bouts of the sniffles lately are because of this issue. I know several people here that suffer when allergy season starts, and I know they dread the spring. So if this sounds like you, just know that while Nashville has plenty of good things going for it, you might not want to move here if allergies are a significant concern for you. Speaking of moving, if it doesn't sound like Nashville will be your own personal hell, I would love to help you make a smooth move here to Nashville or anywhere else in Middle Tennessee. My contact info is down in the description, so reach out by call, text, or email and let's have a chat. Now, next up, you're gonna hate living in Nashville if you hate driving. And the reasons for this are twofold. First, while Nashville has a public transportation system, it honestly kind of sucks. You can spend a really long time waiting for your bus, and the overall network of stops isn't great. I've recommended it to people many times on this channel, and I will say it again. If you plan on living in Nashville, you probably need to own and drive a car, or have plenty of excess cash for Uber and Lyft rides, which thankfully are allowed to operate in Nashville. The second reason is that Nashville traffic is rough and it has only gotten worse through the years. Nashville has several major freeways running through it, such as I-65, I-24, 40, and Briley Parkway, and they are absolutely packed during rush hours. Yes, hours plural. The traffic issues have extended well out into the suburbs, including my own personal suburb, Spring Hill. And planning for drive times and commutes is essential if you ever want to get somewhere on time. My friend Daniel is a local plumber who does some of the hardest, dirtiest, and most labor-intensive work you can do around the Nashville metro. And the thing he hates most about his work is driving from job to job. You can learn to adapt, and of course there are plenty of places in the US with worse traffic, but yeah, you're gonna hate being in the Nashville metro if you can't stand driving or being stuck in traffic. Nashville is also known as Music City, and the musical aspect of our city is just one of the reasons you will hate living in Nashville if you hate noise. Of course, this issue compounds as you get closer to the heart of Nashville, and anyone who has ever walked down Broadway can tell you that is one noisy street. But the blaring music isn't all that's causing the noise here. Local traffic can cause a lot of the noise pollution, and if you're searching for a home here and hate traffic noises, I definitely suggest getting out into some of the rural areas out on the edges of our metro. Nashville also has a lot of construction, which further adds to our noise pollution. And given that we are still adding 100 residents a day, we don't expect to see new construction slow down anytime soon, as there is a constant need for more housing inventory in Nashville. Again, you can find quiet and peaceful neighborhoods here, especially in the rural areas, but you have to be very intentional about it. So yeah, as you might expect, just like anywhere else with a major city, you won't like living in Nashville either if you can't stand the noise. The next reason you might hate living in Nashville is if you need lower housing costs. I say housing costs here very specifically because the overall cost of living in Nashville is actually slightly below the national average. But the housing costs make up a tremendous bulk of those expenses. As of the making of this video, the average sales price of a home in Davidson County is around $715,000, with the median sales price being around $486,000. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of homes in the 200s and 300s, but they're becoming fewer and fewer. And if you need something in the $100,000 range, unfortunately, it's nearly impossible to find something that doesn't need a full renovation or tear down if it's in that price range. Additionally, towns on the outskirts of the Nashville metro that have historically been affordable have been getting more expensive as well, such as Clarksville, which just 2 years ago had an average sales price of $225,000 and has now ballooned to about $325,000. This affects rent prices as well, of course, and the Nashville metro is just not that friendly anymore to those seeking to lower their budgets on their monthly housing expenses. Insider tip: if you want to live as close to Nashville as possible while still keeping your housing costs down, check out Antioch, Donaldson, Old Hickory, Hermitage, or Madison. Now, besides the traffic, the complaint I hear most about Nashville is up next. You will hate living in Nashville if you hate hot summers. Year-round and overall, Nashville has what I believe are very mild and pleasant temperatures, but its summers can be pretty brutal sometimes. It's not just the heat either. We are also in a humid subtropical climate, which, as you might guess, comes with a lot of humidity, pushing that heat index up over 100 degrees several times throughout the season. We do get reprieves from the heat now and again during the summer, but often that's because of a nasty rainstorm that just canceled your plans for the day. As a former Floridian, I can tell you that Nashville summers don't compare to that level of heat, but sometimes we ain't far off. If you want to live in Nashville and not hate your life, you need functioning AC in your car, home, and workplace. And if you just can't stand the heat at all, you're probably gonna hate living in Nashville. This next one is probably the most important thing to know about living in Nashville, and you're gonna hate living here if you hate making money. Okay, so yeah, I'm saying this jokingly, but the reason I mention it is that Nashville has actually become the #1 job market in the country. There's a strong focus on business development and entrepreneurship in Nashville, and of course, the city's music reputation draws hopeful musicians from all over looking to make a career here. Tech, automotive, and especially healthcare are thriving industries here that have been coming to define the Nashville metro. And I say all this since you may or may not like the culture here because of that. You do find all types in the Nashville metro, and the city is actually surprisingly diverse for a southern city, even politically. But I have to admit there is a strong focus on business here that may not be for everyone. Will you hate it for this? Yeah, probably not. And it's actually my favorite thing about living in Nashville. And if you didn't hate this video, you might even love this one, so check it out next. Thanks for watching, and I certainly hope to Tennessee you soon.